Hey, what's up guys? Radku here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today is going to be Endymion. Now, I had a lot of strife making this deck, because really, I didn't understand the playstyle of Endymion a ton, other than the fact that it just used a ton of spell counters. But the thing is that, as I was building this deck, I learned a lot more about it, and, after watching a billion different deck profiles to try to get ideas, all of them were saying to do a specific thing, but then I realized I just need to make my own deck because screw them. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting things off, I played 3 copies of Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic. So this is one of the most well-known cards for having the most mouthful of text ever. This is why no one plays this archetype, because it just has too much text. Its pendulum effect, you can remove 6 spell counters from your field, because a lot of cards can hold spell counters. To special summon this card from the pendulum zone, then count the number of cards you control that can have spell counters, destroy that many cards on the field. So that's actually really good, because you can just Raigeki your opponent's field, basically. And if you do place spell counters on this card equal to the number of cards. So that's actually super busted. So it special summons itself, wipes your opponent's field, and basically puts 20 spell counters on this card. Then once per turn, when a spell or trap is activated, quick effect, you can return 1 card you control with a spell counter to the hand, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So spells and trap negation, spell trap or card effect negation is awesome. You can set up a 10 disruption board. I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not, because it's super busted. You can negate and destroy, and it's not a hard once per turn, so there's that. Then when this card with spell counters is destroyed by battle, you can add 1 normal spell from your deck to your hand, which is busted. No deck ever has the ability to search spell cards just normally, because we have cards like Left Arm Offering, which you banish your entire hand just to get 1 spell card. But this deck just generically gets spell cards for no reason, which is so busted. Play 2 copies of Reflection. Each time a spell is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. That's usual with most of the Endymion cards. You can remove 3 spell counters from this card, special summon both this card and from your pendulum zone, and 1 monster from your hand that can have a spell counter placed on it. Then if you do, place 1 spell counter on each, which is actually super good, because that means you set up 2 negations just by having 1 reflection. So you could put reflection in there, in the pendulum zone, and then activate 3 different spell cards, put 3 counters on this, special summon it and Endymion with 2 counters on them. That gives Endymion 2 negations, which is super, super good. Now I played 2 copies of Magister of Endymion. This card's actually pretty good, but it's a bit overhyped. I played at 2 copies just because it's good at 2 copies. Each time a spell would be activated, place a spell counter. You can remove 3 spell counters to special summon this and 1 face-up monster from your extra deck, and if you do, place 1 spell counter on each. So this is actually really good, because now that we don't have a ton of ways of using the main deck anymore, using the extra deck in the same way, we now have this in order to set up some better boards, and it's really good for recovery. Now I play 2 copies of Oath Dragon Magician. I kind of only play this because it's a decent searcher card. If you have another Magician in your pendulum zone, you can add 1 face-up Dark Magician or Odd Eyes from your extra deck to your hand. It's kind of a similar renewal to Endymion, but you don't have to remove any spell counters in order to do it. Then its normal effect is, if this card's normal summon, you can target 1 Magician Pendulum monster or Odd Eyes monster in your graveyard, except Oath Dragon, add it to your hand, which is pretty decent. You could add back your Spellbook of Prophecies, or if a card gets discarded in your hand, you could pretty easily renew that, so that's pretty good. Now I play 3 copies of Mythical Beast Jackal, 2 copies of Cerberus, and 1 copy of Garuda. This is kind of your standard Mythical Beast lineup. with the inclusion of Oath Dragon, I decided not to play a ton of copies of extra mythical beasts, which, I mean, this is your standard lineup, so it doesn't really matter. Then I played 3 copies of Chronograph Sorcerer and 1 Time Gazer, because you can set up that combo and loop Chronograph a bit. I'm still kind of sad that Astrograph Sorcerer is banned. We might be able to get it back at 1. I didn't play Double Iris in this deck because I didn't see a point to, because I don't really play any dragon cards, but it's an option you could play. 1 copy of Servant because it's limited, still a busted card. Special summon it from the pendulums on 1 monster from your deck with 1,000 or more attack that you can place spell counters on, which this card instantly gets you into your Endymion, and it is super, super busted. So that's it for the pendulum monsters. Going into the I say normal loosely, 2 copies of Souls because this card has a decent draw effect, and just all in all sets up a body on the field if you really want to. 2 copies of Blue Boy because it can search out your prophecy or your knowledge and secrets. So that's decent. Then I play 1 copy of Upstart, 1 set rotation, and 1 terraforming. You play 2 field spells, and I don't know why set rotation isn't played as much, because it's not like any of the field spells are limited. So you're not really losing anything by using set rotation. 1 copy of terraforming searches your field spells. I play 1 copy of Citadel, just decent spell counter placement. 1 copy of Mythical Institution. I never really liked the Mythical Beast edition. I kind of wish I could just build this pure Endymion or pure Magicians, but like Mythical Beast is kind of needed for this deck to function as well as it does. Each time a Mythical Beast Pendulum monster card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can place 2 spell counters on this card. Then once per turn, you can remove any number of spell counters. Add 1 monster from your deck or face-up extra deck to your hand equal to the number removed. So this is actually really good. So this, if you think about it, really hard, this can actually be an Exodia setup, because all the Exodias are level 1. And this card isn't once per turn, which means that if you get 5 spell counters on this card, you can search out all 5 pieces of Exodia and just call it a day. Forbidden One is it's a level 3, so you'd need to set up 7 spell counters, which actually isn't that hard. So you could, that might be a deck idea later, but yeah. Then I played 3 copies of Spell Power Grasp, searches your Servant, which is super busted. I played 2 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge. It's a pot of greed in this deck. Like, literally, all your deck is spellcasters, except for your mythical, or your mythical beasts are spellcasters. Like, there's no reason not to play it. You don't play any non-spellcaster monsters, and you play so many of them at that. You can send either 1 spellcaster monster you control or 1 spellbook card from your hand to the or field to the graveyard, except knowledge, and if you do, draw 2 cards. So usually the normal play is you normal summon prophecy, search your secret, activate secret to search your knowledge, so that way you just get rid of 1 card in your deck, and then you use knowledge to get rid of Blue Boy to draw 2, which is basically a pot of greed in exchange for your normal summon, which is super broken. Then I play 2 copies of Spot of Desires, just to round off the draw spells. You don't really play any cards that you're fearing to get rid of, other than Servant, which Servant is super searchable, so if you wanted to, you could just search it, then use Desires. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. Main deck's pretty normal. I did add an Oath Dragon, but that's just because it's a generically great searcher. Usually people wouldn't play 2 copies of Knowledge. Usually they'd only play 1, but I thought it was super busted, and you don't really have to fear about drawing into it because you have Desires to make up for that. So going into the extra deck, really the only mandatory, you play a lot of mandatory cards, never mind. Play 1 copy of Saryuja because it's a great card. Plus, it's a pendulum deck, so you can easily go into it. 1 copy of Access Code for OTKs. 1 copy of Appaloosa for negations. 1 copy of Unicorn for some generic spot removal. I play 3 copies of Selene. Selene's actually super busted. Ignore the background. And really, like, I don't know why people play 2 copies of Selene. Selene is actually super busted. 1 copy of Masquerena for some plays with Unicorn. Like, for the longest time, I didn't understand why Masquerena was so good. But then I realized that every time the Nightmare monsters are link summoned, you get to use this. So if you have another monster on the field, you use Masquerena to set up your plays, and that's actually super good. Then I play 1 copy of Crowley, the First Prophesier. Kind of decent. You can reveal 3 spellbook cards with different names from your deck, and your opponent randomly chooses one. Also, shuffle the rest into your deck. Then you can only use it once per turn. Each time a level 5 or higher spellcaster would be normal summoned, you can summon it without tributing, which means that you can actually normal summon your Endymion Mighty Master of Magic, even though its pendulum effect is really where it's at. 1 copy of Phoenix. I should have put Phoenix up here because I don't know why I didn't. 1 copy of Daybreaker, just because, like, it's just generic fairy support, or fairy spellcaster support, and it's kind of decent. Then I played 2 copies of Absolute Dragon. Super easy to go into with this deck, and really you set up Absolute Dragon just so that you can go into Vortex Dragon, which is even better. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you thought, and let me know if there's anything you would change about the deck. I really feel like I messed up with the main deck, because the main deck is, like, super important to this deck, and, like, I don't have much experience with it. Like, no one plays it anymore, so I really couldn't find any up-to-date deck profiles to help build off of it, because, like, they either play 3 Servant or they max out on Astrograph. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Peace, guys.